Praise the Lord, my beautiful, blessed souls. Back with another word, bruised and not broken. I have been on sabbatical. I've been trying to relax, relate, and release, and get some of this work done because I knew that I had to do this one on the flags because although I covered a lot of the other stuff, I did not cover the flags. Remember the flags around the world, their meanings, their images, and their symbolism. So we're going to get into that because I had to do some deep dive in the researches. But today is May 17th. I hope everyone had a wonderful, blessed weekend. And I am here now, May 17th. I'm going to share the word of the day. It is empowerment. Now, we've been talking about beauty. We've been talking about all of these things. And now we're here at empowerment. And it says, I want to live as God's representative. How does he help me to obey him? God empowers us for the things that he requires of us. You can obey him because he gives you his Holy Spirit to help you. Even as the air you breathe empowers your body to function, so the Holy Spirit empowers your spirit to obey. God's word releases you from bondage to sin so that you are free to obey him. And it says, Philippians 2:12-13, you must be even more careful to put into action God's saving work in your lives, obeying God with deep reverence and fear, for God is working in you, giving you the desire to obey him and the power to do what pleases him. John 14:15-16 says, if you love me, obey my commandments, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another counselor who will never leave you. So that is the Holy Spirit, as we know. And in James 1:25, it says, if you keep looking steadily into God's perfect law, the law that sets you free, and if you do what it says and don't forget what you heard, then God will bless you for doing it. So when we look at what we're going to be talking about, it's going to make a lot of sense. This was the intermission I told you guys between, from Joshua chapter 24. We're going to be going into Judges. But before I got there, I wanted us, because they're still on this, guys still talking about the idolatry and all this. And so, and along with the, when it comes to the land, that was given, the dividing it up, and then we're going to see how, a lot is going to go on in Judges. But before we get there, I wanted to talk about the flags. And the reason I wanted to talk about the flags, because we see all of these flags and these symbolisms and we don't pay them no mind. It's just like the symbolisms, but we need to, because they're very symbolic. They mean a lot, and we're going to talk about it. The world flags carry layers of meaning, historical, cultural, and deeply spiritual. See, we don't pay them any mind, but it does. Across nations, the symbols, colors, and the shapes, remember on flags, as visual theology, they declare identity, covenant, struggle, destiny, and collective memory. Below is a structured lineage aware that breaks down the global flag symbolism. We're going to get into integrating national meanings with the spiritual and generational themes. So we're going to look into it. So core meaning of flags and their colors, meaning globally and spiritually. These colors and meanings appear consistently across nations and spiritual traditions. All factual color symbolisms sourced from global flag analysis. So red is courage, bloodline, and sacrifice. It is nationally, it means bravery, revolution, bloodshed for freedom. It also means spiritual, covenant, sacrifice, generational cause, purification through struggle. That's the spiritual. So it's national, spiritual, and lineage. The lineage meaning is our ancestors fought for this ground, the honor of the bloodline. So the national is bravery, revolution, and bloodshed for freedom. Spiritual is the covenant, sacrifice, generational cause, purification through struggle. And in the lineage is the ancestors fought for the ground. So now white means purity, peace, and truth. Now, the national means unity, innocence, is harmony. The spiritual means consecration, holiness, clean, identity. The lineage means your line is being washed and reset. The color blue is justice, freedom, and divine inspiration. Nationally, it means loyalty, justice, the sky, and the sea. Spiritually, it means revelation, heavenly covering, prophetic clarity. Lineage meaning your family is under divine order and truth. Green is hope, fertility, and renewal. Now, nationally, it's land, prosperity, and agriculture. Spiritually, it is resurrection, new cycles, and paradise. Lineage meaning is your line is entering renewal and fruitfulness. The color yellow / gold means glory, wealth, and enlightenment. We talk about empowerment, enlightenment. Hey. Nationally, it means prosperity and natural resources. Spiritually, it means divine glory, illumination, and kingship. Lineage meaning is your inheritance is being restored. So, black means strength, resilience, and mourning. Nationally, it means struggle, resistance, and remembrance. Spiritually, it means death to old cycles, authority, and depth. Lineage meaning means your line has endured, now it rises. Common flag and symbols and their spiritual layers, meanings grounded in global flag systems. The stars, so this is where we are. The stars is guidance, divine light, and destiny. Nationally, it means unity, such as in the United States, right? Ideals and hope. Spiritually, it means heavenly assignment, covenant, and promise. Lineagely, it means for your family, it carries destiny, constellation. The crescent means faith, growth, divine guidance. Nationally, it is Islamic identity, lunar cycles. Spiritually, it is new beginning, spiritual awakening. Lineage is your line is entering a new spiritual phase. Now, the cross, meaning, the cross symbol. It means sacrifice, protection, and faith. Nationally, it means Christian heritage, Nordic, Swiss, and UK. Excuse me. Oh, excuse me. It's this hot cold. I'm telling you, it was nice today. Finally. Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Okay. So spiritually, it means covering, redemption, and covenant. Now, lineage, it means your family is marked by divine protection. So, the cross. Now, when we look at the sun, it means light, enlightenment, and renewal. Nationally, it means rebirth, energy, national awakening. Spiritually, it means glory, illumination, and divine presence. Lineagely, it means your line is rising into clarity and purpose. Now, when it comes to animals, we're going to get into animals because remember, they are part of it too, the symbolism sometimes. Animals such as eagles, the lion, and the bear. Nationally, it means authority, courage, and sovereignty. Spiritually, it means spirit, animal, archetype, meaning eagle, vision, equals vision, bear equals strength. Your lineage means your family carries a mantle of leadership. Shields and weapon emblems, right? Nationally, it means defense, heritage, historical struggle. And then spiritually means warfare, protection, ancestral battles. Lineage means your line has fought and survived. Give me 1 second. I need to blow my nose because, honey, I don't know what's going on. I mean, it is a change in the weather, and I am trying to get it together. Give me 1 second. Yes, it is still. I know today was nice, but the back and forth, the hot and cold, it's just been getting it. When it settles, I'll be a whole lot better. And then with the when it comes to the AC, hot, cold, that doesn't help either for me. Because I'm usually, I sweat a lot, but okay. Okay, so now we're going to get into examples of specific flags and their spiritual echoes. Now, these examples come from global flag and their meaning, such as like Japan. They have that sun. It's the rising sun. The meaning is red sun equals purity, sincerity, divine light. Spiritually, it echoes awakening, clarity, and rebirth. Lineage meaning is your line is stepping into illumination. India, saffron, white, green, and Ashaka chakra. Saffron is courage and spirituality. White is peace, green is faith and land. Chakra is eternal law. The lineage meaning is your family is being aligned with divine order. The South Korean Taeguk trigrams, balance of heaven, earth, water, fire. Spiritual echo, harmony, cosmic order. Lineage meaning your line is being rebalanced. Canada, the maple leaf. Unity, peace, national identity. Spiritually echoes healing and gentleness. Lineage meaning your family carries a peacemaking mantle. So this is what now the United States, the stars and stripes. I think it means a lot, but we could get to that. Stars equal unity. Stripes equal original tribes / colonies. Spiritual echo is covenant, identity, and calling. Lineage meaning your line carries generational purpose and resilience. Spiritual meaning of flags meaning dreams, vision, identity. Seeing a flag spiritually is an identity awakening, is a call to embrace your true self, is an invitation to stand under your tribal banner. Biblical roots, Israelite tribes marched under banners, meaning flags equal identity, victory, and divine order. Remember, God made the breastplates, he made the shields, he made the different things for them, and they had their specific colors, all these things, so there's symbolism. Yes, they mean things. Spiritual echo, your lineage is being reorganized under God's banner. Native American symbolism, flags include buffalo skulls, feathers, and totems, meaning honor ancestors, nature, and spirits. Lineage echo, your ancestors acknowledge your path is protected. Dream and meanings. Raised flag equals victory and independence. Torn flag is unresolved conflict. New flag equals new identity and or season. Lineage level interpretation. We're going to look at these things. Flags represent identity, okay? And we're going to bring all of this because healing, we need to look, when it comes to healing generationally, we need to know our flag, our symbols, whatever from our family. The mantles they carry, whatever's in them. And that goes a lot even with the world. And you can tell what they represent. Flags represent identity, who your lineage is becoming, covenant, what your family is bound to, memory, what your ancestors endured, destiny, where your line is going, authority, what spiritual mantle rests on your family. This is what we just talked about. Now, when a nation chooses a flag, it is declaring this is our story, this is our struggle, this is our hope, this is our spiritual posture. So when we study these flags, we're studying the spiritual DNA of the nation. Just like everybody, the companies, they have their, brands with their logos. This is what this is about. So when you see people out there and they're wearing special brands and logos, this is what represents them. This is what this is about. So now when we look at the next thing, I wanted to look at the spiritual symbolisms a little bit closer. So we're going to look at these core ones. The flags are spiritual banners. Remember that they declare a nation's identity, covenant, memory, and destiny. The same 4 pillars we was looking at before. So every color, shape, and symbol is a visual theology. Remember, it's telling the story. Along with if it's symbols, if it's, shapes, colors, including the animals. So the global color, historical, and spiritual lineage of red, is bloodline, sacrifice, courage. Historical is revolution, bravery, war. Spiritual is covenant, blood purification. Lineages is our ancestors paid the price and honored the cost. White is purity, peace, and truth. Historically is unity, surrender, and innocence. White. Spiritual holiness, consecration. Lineage, your line is being cleansed and reset. Blue is justice, revelation, and divine order. Historically, it is loyalty and vigilance. Spiritually, it's heavily covering, prophetic clarity. And lineage is your family is being aligned with truth. Green is renewal, land, prosperity, historical agriculture, hope, spiritual resurrection, and new cycles. Lineage, your line is entering fruitfulness. Gold or yellow is glory, wealth, kingship. Historical, natural resources, and prosperity. Spiritual, divine glory, and illumination. Lineage is your inheritance is being restored. So remember, that's historical, spiritual lineage. Black, strength, resistance, and memory. Historically is liberation and resilience. Spiritually is authority and depth to old cycles. And lineage is your line has endured, now it rises. Now, global systems, symbols. National spiritual lineage. Stars is destiny, guidance, and divine assignment. Nationally, it is unity and ideals. Spiritually, it means covenant promise. Lineagely, it means your family carries a constellation of callings. The sun, life, awakening, and renewal. Nationally is rebirth and energy. Spiritually is glory and illumination. Lineagely is your line is rising into clarity. The crescent. Faith, growth, and new cycles. Nationally is an Islamic identity. Spiritually is new beginnings. Lineagely is your line is entering a new spiritual phase. The cross is redemption, protection, and sacrifice. Nationally is Christian heritage. Spiritually is covering, and covenant. Lineage, it is your family is marked by divine protection. The eagle, authority, vision, and sovereignty. National power and leadership. Spiritually, prophetic sight. Lineage or line carries a leadership mantle. Shields and weapons is defense, heritage, and warfare. Nationally, it is historical struggle. Spiritually, it's spiritual warfare. Lineagely, it is your ancestors fought, and you inherit their strength. Plants such as olive, maple, cedar is peace, healing, and rootedness. Nationally, it is equals to land and identity. Spiritually, is restoration. Lineagely is your roots are being healed. So that's country by country, spiritual profiles. We're going to look into these things because you know. Now, Jamaica has black and green and gold. The black is resilience, the green is hope, and then you have the gold, which is divine glory. Then you have the lineage, meaning your line carries joy, strength, and divine favor. Ghana, Pan-African colors, and a black star. Red, ancestral sacrifice. Gold is wealth, green is land, black star is African destiny. Lineage, meaning your line is tied to liberation and leadership. Israel is the blue in the Star of David. There is no Star of David. We're going to get into it. It is a lie. We're going to get into it. I'm just giving you what, I looked up, and then we're going to get further into it. Blue is divine law. Star is covenant, identity. Lineage, meaning your line is marked by covenant and calling. Remember that star they got from the Ashkenazi Jews. There was never a Star of David. David never had a star. That is not that. That is the hexagram. That is that sorcery stuff. We're going to get into it. Blue is divine law. Star is covenant, identity, lineage, meaning your line is marked by covenant and calling. The Dominican Republic, they have the cross. Remember the cross with the colors. And it is white. The white cross that symbolizes purity. The blue one is liberty. And the rest is sacrifice. Their lineage is meaning your line carries redemption and resilience. Now, the U.S. has the stars and the stripes. Stars is unity, stripes is foundational, tribes and colonies. Lineage meaning your line carries generational purpose and complexity. Now, in the demonic world, remember these things mean other things, okay? So, and when they're put together, they mean a lot. That's why I want to let you see the difference, and we're going to get into it. Spiritual meaning of flags and dreams and visions. When a flag appears spiritually, it signals 1, identity awakening, 2, a call to take your place, 3, a shift, a generational assignment, 4, a season of authority, 5, a banner of protection and or warfare, and 6, a covenant being renewed. Dream interpretation. A raised flag is victory and breakthrough. A torn flag is unresolved generational conflict. A new flag is new identity and or mantle. A foreign flag is a cross-cultural calling and or influence. Now, when it comes to lineage and transformation, we're going to look at it because we want to see, one, when it comes to these flags and all of these pillars, we want to identify them on who the people are that believe, who people believe they are, what they stand for, 2, what their covenant, what they're bound to is their faith, land, ancestors, destiny, what type of stuff. 3 would be the memory, what they survived, trauma, war, migration, oppression, and then the 4 would be their destiny, where they're going, calling, leadership, global role. And this is the same structure that, we normally use. So we're going to look into it. When we look into these flags, remember we want to look at the colors. What do the colors reveal about the identity, memory, and destiny? The symbolism. What symbolism mental is calling? The shapes, the patterns, the cross, the circles, the stripes. What does the structure say about the order and purpose? Also the history, how it shaped it. Prophetic layer. What is the nation's lineage emerging season? So we're going to look into also, because I want to show you the actual. That's why I got it up. Oh, hold on. I want to. Ooh, give me 1 second. I'm still sneezing. Ooh. Oh. Excuse me. Ooh, I apologize. My body is still adjusting to this weather. Okay. So we want full spiritual symbolism breakdown. I think it was 199 world flags, 195, I think. And we're going to look at them, the different continents, the banners, and all this. We know a lot is going on with the world when it comes to the war. I say war on people and just humanity each and every day. The whole hunt for souls daily. Our mind, our mental, emotional, physical, financial, spiritual well-being is just, hold on 1 second, it stays on the hunt for us. I hate getting on here having to do this because, honey, and when I'm even hot and cold, I apologize. But yeah. I done looked up all this information. And I'm ready to get it together. Okay, so now, Golden Master, Continent, okay, the banner. Okay, when we look at Africa, right, and I think Africa has, 54 nations in it? We see the core colors of most African, is red for the bloodshed and liberation, green is for land and prosperity, the gold is for wealth, divine glory, 5 is for the Black African identity and ancestral memory. Spiritual identity of Africa. Africa carries the mantles of origins of the memory of suffering and destiny of restoration. There are 54 African nations. Algeria is green, white, and crescent, which is purity and spiritual awakening. Angola, red, black, and gear, machete, struggle, rebuilding. I don't want to go through all of them because it's going to take a long time because it's 54. But you can look all of the African flags up yourself and you can look up exactly, what I'm talking about because it will get to be lengthy. I'm trying to make these videos a little bit. But hold on, I'll let you see it just so you see for yourself what I'm talking about. Because it has all 54 and it has the colors and stuff. Okay. Hey, I'm going back up. Okay, so start from there and going down so that you see it. So, you can do your own research, but I just like for you to see, what I am looking at. And you can look up for yourself. Now, when we talk, now we're going to get into the Americas. The Americas have 35 nations. North America, USA, Star Stripes means covenant and destiny. Then there's Canada, the maple leaf, which is healing. Then there's Mexico, the eagle and serpent, victory over oppression. Then we have Central America, 7 nations, Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, Panama. The spiritual theme is covenant, purity, and rebirth. Then we have the 13 Caribbean nations, which is Jamaica, Haiti, DR, Cuba, Barbados, Trinidad, and Tobago, etc. The spiritual theme is resilience, creativity, and liberation. Then we have South America, which is 12 nations, which is Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, etc. And their spiritual theme is awakening, abundance, and renewal. Now, Asia has 48. That's a lot. But basically, over all this, is Japan, Philippines, Kyrgyzstan is enlightenment. They have the suns. Then you got the stars, which is China, Vietnam, which is destiny. Then you have the crescent, which is the Middle East, meaning, which is spiritual identity. And then you have the wheels, India, divine law. Asia carries the mantle of ancient wisdom and the future revelation. This is what it says. Now, I also want you to remember, because at the beginning of the year, we were talking about the year and when it starts and all of that. And, Persia being, signs of the end times. And they're talking about it now, about how Persia is going to be the one when it's all coming out. Although I don't think it's called Persia anymore, the area will be the old Persia. And that's going to be where, they're fighting and they're going to rise up. So we're watching how it plays out. Read your word, pay attention to what's going on. A lot is going on. A lot. They're cutting stuff. They're doing so much stuff. We have to pay attention. I know the South has a lot of stuff. Donald Trump's doing so much. We need to be paying attention. I keep saying this. I try to look up stuff every day. Sometimes I have time. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes it's very depressing. But you don't want to be in the dark. You want to be, staying afloat to know what you need to do to make decisions for you, your household, whatever, your family, whatever. Europe has 44 nations. Continental spiritual banner, order, covenant, and heritage. Key symbols are the crosses. The Nordic nations, UK, Switzerland, mean covenant. Then you have the eagles, and it's Albania, and Serbia. This means authority. And then you have the stars, which is EU, which is unity. Europe carries the mantle of structure, tradition, and covenant memory. You have Oceania, which is 14 nations. This is the continental spiritual banner, creation, purity, and new beginnings. Key symbol is stars, such as Australia, New Zealand, navigation. That means what it means. Then you have the birds, Papua New Guinea, and this is a spiritual connection. That's what the symbolism. Then you have the blue fields, which is ocean identity. So Oceania carries a mental purity, creation, and spiritual sensitivity. Now, prophetic continental banner maps. Africa is the rising continent. That's the black star. That's on, the goal, meaning restoration, leadership, ancestral healing. The Americas is the awakening lands, meaning banner, red, white, blue, with the rising sun, meaning identity, freedom, spiritual awakening. That's really not true, but anyway. Then we have Asia, the ancient flame, the banner of gold, sun, and red, meaning wisdom, revelation, spiritual power. Then you have Europe, which is the covenant crossroads, which is the banner of blue field with the white cross, meaning order, covenant, and reformation. Oceania is the waters of creation, which is the banner of blue with the stars, meaning purity, creation, and spiritual sensitivity. And Antarctica is the hidden realm, which is the banner of white on blue, meaning mystery, purity, and divine sequence. Now, global synthesis is what we're talking about across, and we want to see Africa is rising into leadership, Asia is awakening spiritually. Europe is restructuring its identity. The Americas are shaking into truth. Oceania is purifying the birthing of new movements, and Antarctica remains a spiritual vault. So now we want to look into these things because we want to get into what it means, what these things mean. Because a lot of times, remember, they're both the spiritual, which is, the godly side, which is, the Lord, and then there's the demonic. So, like I was saying before, when we look, I was looking at the crescent, right? Hold on, which one has the crescent? Okay, I'm going to take, like I said, that Star of David, there's never been a Star of David. So that's a lie. That is that hexagram thing. And that's what they symbolize, because that's what they practice a lot of that too over there. Don't get it twisted. And that is because a lot of them are Ashkenazi Jews. They're mixed. But that symbol, if you notice, when they're doing the witchcraft and sorcery, they write they are upside down. They're two triangles, one going up and one going down. That's what makes that. And they usually put the circle in the middle. If you know that, people who practice witchcraft, they use that for that. So that's what they symbolize, because that's what this thing represents. And then the white and the blue. The color of the white and blue, I forget what the color was. I done went through all these colors, I'm sorry. But we have to go back, because remember, it's the shape, and it's the color of the shape, as well as, so it'll be white and blue, you see what I'm saying? So when you're looking these up for yourself, because you want to know what's going on and want to be paying attention, you will really want to be paying attention to it. So let me see. I wanted to look at another one. Which one was it? Now, the Stars and Stripes. America, they say Stars and Stripes. Stars and Stripes, remember, stars represent, a lot of stuff, especially in the demonic, because, remember, they were looking for the stars when Christ was before Christ was born. Every time you turn around, they were looking for stars. You see them, the stars, meaning movie stars, so-called celebrities have their stars. Those stars represent, life, and these are what people be doing. When they talk about destiny swaps, they talk about the star. That's what the stars. And then it's the star, and what is the other one? Oh crap, I'm trying to remember. It's another thing to it too. I can't remember right now, but I know one of them is the star, and they try to swap them out, but they love to look for the star, and the it's something else I can't remember. If I come to it, I will. Then we have this crescent moons. Those crescent moons mean a lot too. And you can look those up for yourself in the demonic spiritual world. You see the American flag with the red stripes and the white and all those stars. Look those up because they mean the symbolisms of them when you look them up, when you talk about, because even look at this flag here. Does that not look like, so it's like you can tell what they're practicing based off of certain things. Why? Because certain symbols, those are the symbols of the gods. Remember, they used to wear those, and the pharaohs. What is that? So you can tell what type of time they are, because those were the ones that was idolatry worshiping. This is what I'm trying to talk about, get into. The idolatry worship. So when we look at it, we just want to pay attention. Like I said, hold on, let me see. I'm trying to get all these flags up here. I can't fit them all up here. I'm trying to tell you, I just can't. But I got into it as much as I can, and when you look at, let me go back. There's just so many of them, and I put up flags around the world, and then when you look it up, because even with that World Forum and the meeting, every time they meet, and when you go places like even like in the South, you'll see the Confederate flag waving with the United States flag and different things. That's because those are things that they practice. So when you see the Confederate flag, you know that those places are Southern states, and they still have a lot of outward racism. So some of them are just sundown towns. You can't even go to certain places after the sun goes down because they still practice, the supremacy, the lynching, and all this other stuff. And I was telling folks, because there's so much going on in the South right now, but they're going back to a lot of that, and they're taking a lot of the, rights and stuff. They're doing it all across the board. But I know the Southern states are more heavily because they never wanted the slaves free. So it is a little bit more flamboyant down there. Don't get me wrong, they do it up here too, but it is a little bit more flamboyant and outward. So when people are looking to move and do different things, I would tell you to do your research. I have lived in the South. I've loved living in the South, but depending on, you better make sure you know where, when, where, how in the South you are. I know certain places are extremely, and when it comes to the place, it may not be all of the place, but it may be certain areas down there. But you got to know, because you can't just move down there and just be going anywhere. Because just recently, they were hanging a lot of the truck drivers down there. It wasn't getting a lot of play, but a lot of them truck drivers in the past year was, driving their tractor trailers and being hung on trees when they was taking their naps in these certain places that, they not from down there. They just picking up loads and leaving. But if they don't know the area, they were being hung. There was a lot of stuff going on. A lot of, searches and seizures, just different things, extra unnecessary harassment. And don't get me wrong, because I've been asking myself, I'm like, Lord, I have myself between being a woman, being a black woman, being in America. I don't know which one is, it's a good thing, but it's like, because it could be a whole lot worse. Don't get me wrong, these other countries. But honey, it is hard sometimes being me, being Tab. And then when I look, at other stuff, it's like, that's why I be having to take a break sometimes, because I be busy, I be tired. And I need to refresh, I need to take time for myself and, to just live life sometimes, to smell the flowers, go out, just do something besides work. And, if I'm not working, at my job, to be, looking up stuff for the channel, trying to figure out ways to do better with it, coming up with concepts, whatever, to promote it more. I'm now on Snapchat. Y'all can look me up. I'm on Snapchat. I've always been on Instagram, Snapchat. I used to be on Twitter, but I have not been. I may go back. I just reopened my Snapchat, but I hadn't been on it. But mainly I was an Instagram, Facebook person. I had Instagram and Twitter a while ago, but now I have TikTok as well. So you can kind of look at me on all of them, whichever ones. I just really do a lot of Bible verses. I do a lot of shout outs here and there, but basically that's it. But I want y'all to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. It's a lot of stuff that I have already gone over as well. It's a lot of old videos that people have not looked at, and you might want to go back and look at them, because it just gives us a lot of info. Now, what's going on right now? So much is going on, and I have to still be looking up. Give me 1 second. Still be looking up so much stuff, because everything is symbolism. And everything is being done right in our faces, and we don't want to be ignoring or missing out and not paying it any mind. So give me 1 second, because my nose is still running. I had some soup, and I had some sinus medicine, but it's coming out. But it feels good. I wanted to drain because my head was hurting me a little bit. That pressure up in here and up in here. Whew. But anyway, so this is what this is about. I want to get back into Judges. I wanted to talk about some of the things that's going on in the world. I've had my head kind of in a cloud the past couple of days. I know they got this war situation. What else they got? Just so much going. I'm trying to keep up, not with the stars, meaning those so-called stars that we're looking at, because I've heard them talking about a lot of things, from the female women to black women. So I want to go into that as well. I've been Charleston White has been, talking a lot about the black families or families in general, which we already know has always, especially black people. I talk about black people. I'm not racist or anything to anybody, but I talk about my race because we have a lot going on and it needs to be talked about. It needs to be discussed. And it's not that other races don't. It's just that we have a lot going on. I'll be like, Lord, what is this? This is like ultimate test. From mental situations, I know that they're talking about, just throwing people in the mental facilities now, locking them up. They were talking about these prisons, and they were talking about even with the ISIS and, snatching up those immigrations and throwing them, they building more prisons and like concentration camps, got them out working in these agricultural fields or wherever to make money for little or nothing. And it's free labor. When you think about slavery, people think slavery is just gonna be black people, and I really want to burst your bubble right now. And every time they think they're gonna do stuff, because they create stuff to go, really get black people down and out, and it always backfires. It always come back on them. It always does. This is what they need to understand. And then you can't expect, when it's world we're living in, for that not to happen. Like, just, you're only as strong as your weakest link. So if everyone thinks black people so terrible, they the weakest link. I mean, they get mad at us thinking we have power to change. We don't. We trying to get there to get some power, and then, they give the money, not the power or the politics. It just be too much. So when we're looking at these things, we just got to be paying attention. So right now, they talking about, what he's doing with the DEI stuff. The Doja stuff was first. Taking away all the rights Martin Luther King, marched for. Even that was a Boule situation. We talked about the Black Boule and what the Boule stood for and all this masonry and all this other stuff and the worshiping they do of these gods and keeping certain ones lifted and not. And how they do that through sacrifice and all those other things. So eating children and sacrifice, sex trafficking. This is why. So this is sacrifice, and this is how they live, to worship their gods and have the money, the power, maintain the money, power, wealth that they have. So when we think about these things, we got to really be paying attention, and we got to really be getting in our word and looking at what is going on. Because even myself, like I said, I know when he did the thing with the women with the nursing degrees or something, the jobs, where he's trying to not have band degrees or not have them relevant, I'm like, or something like that. I'm like, how are you going to do that? Well, all these people got all these student loans. But see, when they do that, they think it's just going to be black people. It's white people, it's other races. They're still going to be affected. This is what, every time they do something, when it was the drug epidemic, they thought it was just going to be black. So it's like, but when are the other races, in all actuality, going to get together and say to themselves, well, dang, because they make it about a color thing here. It's really a spirit soul thing. But, they make it about a color thing here just to have, and then when I did the making of a slave, when I did the Willie Lynch, then you got to go back. I don't know how long ago it was, but I did the making of a slave, which was breaking down the Willie Lynch letter and how that was for us in terms of how they separate us by gender, by color, by race, by this, height, weight, looks, this. And, this is how they separate us and divide us to have us hate one another. Even the male and gender, all of that. Social status, class, all of that. So you go back and look at those and see what I was talking about at those, and you'll kind of understand. But then even then, so there was something about Italy. They had put up something, I seen it, a clip where Italy had, everyone did a whole world, all of Italy decided one day just to walk off of their jobs. And this is something that I'm really been trying to talk about, because it's something that really would make sense. Because if they're trying to implant all of these things, we need to be making, because we could bankrupt the world, especially America. We could just bankrupt them just completely if everybody just don't go to work and just walk off their job, don't go to work, don't pay a bill, don't buy nothing, don't do nothing, and sit home until they get themselves together. Why? Because as a corporation, a company, whatever, you cannot run anything without your employees. That's just like union people striking. When the people walk off the job, you think the CEO gonna get out his bed and come work all of those jobs? He couldn't possibly. And this is why we need to be banding together, because it's just the 1% of the population that have all the money. That's like a Hitler thing for me. How did we even allow that still? when we're the ones with the money, the power, we're working basically for them. They wanted to enslave us and got us doing all this because, working a job, all these things just modern day slavery. Slavery never ended, it just changed dynamically. And so when you think about our mental, enslavement, our emotional, financial, physical, this is why Jesus came to set the captives free. Why? Because we need to be free. Our minds, our soul, spirits, and bodies here on earth, especially to live here and to go through and that's what the empowerment, what the empowerment is about, so we need to be getting empowered because even with the Israelites, God told them to take those countries and they didn't take them for whatever reason. And we need to stand up and fight and take them because these are the giants, the pharaohs, the Goliaths in our life, but we have to fight them. We can't just run away. Because nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to work that way. And, so all the other races as well, we're not the ones starving you. We're not the ones, black people are not doing it. Remember, when these things happen in your homes and your stuff go along, you lose your stuff along with black people, like your homes and your businesses, and COVID was shut down. It ain't just the black thing, it's everybody thing. So they doing it the so-called, but they're doing it not just, it affects us first, of course, they design it for us, but it affects everybody. So it's not just the black person, that's working or on welfare, whatever they want to call it. It will also be, the middle class person that got a mom and pop shop, but because they, their funds, the tariffs, whatever, taxing them that bring goods, that they're going to close their shops and maybe lose their funds and, their way of living and their way of paying their mortgage or, whatever it is that they're doing to take care of their family as well. Why? Because income finances is going to be gone. So when we look at this as a whole, and we keep battling each other instead of battling, who we really need to battle. And then to my brothers on the street, if I see, because summertime is coming this year, and it makes me so angry because they talk about how, and this is what Charleston White was talking about, how we do our own selves in, and that's the design that they gave us. And as long as we continue to do that, because if you're going to shoot down your own black brother on the street, and they want to send folks to Iraq, and you don't, and then all these things is going on, and you're not standing up for that, then what are we doing? Everybody's Billy Bad, they'll ride or die for they block and they boy, but you're not going to do that for your freedom, for your I'm not understanding it. I'm not getting it. So I need to understand that. I need to grasp and get that. I need for like a hello, wake up. It behooves me. Yeah, I'm just needing that to just like be like, nah. I'm going to really need for y'all not to be doing that because if y'all going to shoot each other up and kill each other in the summertime or summer long and you're not fighting for what really needs to be going on here, this is a problem. Because like they said, the white man creates a lot of issues, but it's not all the white men, the white race. No, it's not. The systems they have put in place for us, yes, they are very, very, but if we work together, if we have ever worked together, and I'm talking about as families, mother and father sticking together, because I've said it years ago, when the family break up, they keep talking about, the welfare to work, the woman being on welfare and all that is what took the man. No, the man got himself out the house because he wanted to be. Whatever man was in them houses, left them houses because he wanted to be in. Charleston White has been talking about, and I've been saying this for years. It wasn't, Trump that said, no, because most of the men were still living with these women, even though they were on Section 8, even though they had all of this going on. And half of the time, they wasn't even working, paying a bill or nothing. You had women that actually moved men in that didn't have nothing, couldn't help them do nothing, and they still messed it up. So when we sit here, we go back and forth with this war, and they talk about how black women, because the war is on the woman, they was talking about how, I know, in the Bible it says, when they were cursed that it's hurt. Okay, the man and woman, she would long for him. And this is why we go through that. And when it came to the ground, it was cursed. She would bear children with pain and labor. And the bruising of the head and the heel. And this is the enmity and strife between the serpent, I believe, and the woman. And so this is why women have so much, especially black women. Because originally Jean is Eve Jean, which was a black woman. So let's get it together. And when we think about that, and them always, they have been tearing the black men up. Yes, they have been, because that's what they done made them feminine. They done did all this. It's terrible. And I think to a certain extent, for us to survive as a race, because if they was too masculine, they would have been killed off a longer time ago. And even as women, they talk about us raising our men to be kind of soft, because we don't want them shot down on the street like a dog in the street. So, I mean, it's not that you want them to be soft, but you want them to respect authority and have, certain guidelines. So you teach them to do certain things as children, as black males. We teach our children, how to walk down the street. If an officer approach you, certain things is certain protocol. Why? Because you see Trayvon Martin. I mean, come on now, let's not act like we're stupid here. So, when we're doing this, we got to pay attention to, look at it. And I keep asking God, I was like, Lord, what is, this? But these are what we're living with. These are the blessings and curses of the idolatry, of the suffering, of the bondage. Remember, he said, choose ye this day. And in Deuteronomy, the blessings of the curses. And so depending on what we're doing or what's been passed and what we've been doing, this is where we are. And so, fighting them, especially when they've piled up all of this stuff for so long, all these generations, that nobody's been doing anything with it or whatever, or haven't been taught to even, look into it, do it, to heal, the bloodlines, or to ask for forgiveness. And a lot of times in these churches, they're preaching all this money stuff, and they're not preaching you the stuff to really get free and out of bondage. This is the whole point, and to make it actually into heaven, because the road is narrow. They say just because you sit in the pew, that don't mean nothing, because he can say, get from me, I know you're not. So every day is working out our fear and trembling. So I myself, sometimes, like I said, I have to step back, because I can't. It'd be so much going on. And I'm like, Lord, I don't want to feel overwhelmed between the news sometimes, and I don't like to watch it, but I have to pay attention, to what's going on. But sometimes too much is just overload. And I have to get by myself and just not be bothered, because it just be too much. And like, Lord, just help me, figure and just trust you that no matter what is going on, that you're going to maneuver me in the right directions, around the right people, places, and things, so that I'm protected. Not to say my life will be perfect, but it wouldn't be, to the point where my enemies are just going to destroy me, or, Satan's going to have his way, because God has that protection, that hedge of protection. So, with that being said, like I said, I was talking about the Charleston White thing. He's talking about, how, the black and the white, different races and how they live and how, but it's not to say that we can't have lives here and live a life that is saved and pleasing to God, because I'm trying to walk this thing out myself on a daily, day-to-day basis. Not to say you're going to be perfect, but because there's so much to unpack. There's so much we didn't know, there's so much we're trying to figure out. And there's so much he's showing us consistently over time. Things that we thought we knew that we didn't know, or things that have changed over time, because nothing stays the same. And so with that being said, that new song is coming into my mind. Payne taught me. It's a couple of them that's just coming into my mind. But anyway, here I go again with the video getting long. I did not want it to be this long. Oh, yeah, it is. All right. Every time I get on here, it just be too much. I just be going, listen. But anyway, like I said, there's a lot of videos that I have. I have over 500 videos on here. I've been on here, 2 years now? Over 2 years. And I would like for you to go through them, because from my testimony to now, you'll see how I've grown. On top of that, it's a lot of stuff that I done went through that you may not understand. But once you see it and you see videos after, then you understand it. Always like, share, comment, and subscribe. We're supposed to be our brothers, keepers, lovers, sisters, keepers, lovers. We're supposed to help build and grow each other. Look out for one another. When we hear in a world that doesn't value life, souls, this is a problem. And we see that this is more than a human thing. Okay? It is a spiritual thing. Why? Because how do you not honor the life or the life force? And we just have such disregard. And this is why you see what goes on. The food, the poverty, the this, the that. This is, and this is why he says stay away from them gods. Because those gods require that. in order for them to have what they have. Somebody has to be sacrificing and suffering. Somebody has to be offered up to them. This is what this is about. So when we look at all these countries all over the world that practice this stuff, including America, in different ways, but it's the same thing, worshiping other gods. And so I'm hoping that tomorrow, I'll be getting into Judges. And we're going to start getting into that. And we're going to see how that's going to go, because that's going to be really good. So we're going to see the transition. And we're going to see how sometimes we walk away from God and come back and all of this. This is, we have this in and out, up and down situation where stuff is going on, and this is what it is. Like I said, like, share, comment, and subscribe. I know I haven't been putting them out as regularly as I want to. I do have some stuff going on. I'm trying to, do other things, but I don't want to be overwhelmed. That's not even just with the channel, but it's, with my life and other things. And trying to heal and grow, and, make sure that my family or myself is, taken care of as far as when these end times come, because you're going to have food, clothing and shelter always. We see all these people homeless. We see what's going on. Prices, everything going up. Wages not going. We see all these things. So we have to be preparing ourselves. And if that means, like other folks all living in one place and working together, then that may, or coming up with these communities. They were talking about the communities. I know years ago they used to have communities or communal life where folks get together. But see, you have to be willing to do this. This is compromise. This is working together. This is everybody's not going to have everything they want. This is, because if you can't even live with each other in your own apartments or households, how are you going to do that? Like, as siblings, as parents, as, friends and family. Come on now. So these little petty, stuff makes big things. And this is what happens when, we let those small things, the small leaven, the yeast, it spoils the whole bunch. The apples, the same thing. And we make these minute battles, tear us up from winning the war, the bigger picture. Everyone needs to make it. Everyone needs to have what they need to have, the basic necessities of life. May not have everything you want, but you need to have everything at least that you need for survival. And we don't want to always just be here surviving. We want to live before we leave here. And God said he has life more abundant for us here. That's why he came. So when we think about these things, we have to pay so much close attention. Like I said, go back and look. I think the beginning of the year was talking about Persia and how Persia was going to rise up. God was showing me, with the war and everything, that they're doing some twists and turns and twists and stuff, but it's still basically kind of set. Everything, I talked about last year with the 2026 trajectory, 2030 trajectory. When you look at those manifests, I think it was 900 some pages with one of them. Which one was it? Not the Big Beautiful Bill. Was it that one? I can't remember, but I know. I know they be coming out with all this stuff, and there just be so much going on. I know recently it was something with the South, with them Senate seats and them voting and them having rights, and up here as well. So we have to be careful, because the more rights they take away from us, which technically speaking, as Black people, we're here as property. We never had any rights anyway. So this is why the laws and stuff don't apply to us. We must understand that this is what it is. We were brought to this country. We was brought here as property. They didn't see us as human beings, and this is why the laws do not really, we don't have rights. So when you look at that and you look at what goes on, when they shooting little Johnny down in the street like a dog and they don't go to jail, is because technically speaking, little Johnny not on the books for actually having, being a human being. If you're 3/4 to half of a human, they call us monkeys, whatever, then this is what they see as cattle. We were brought here as livestock to be traded like on the stock exchange to build and grow this country. Also, there's a woman on there, she's getting reparations. We need to all be trying to figure that out, because we might need to do that. But more than anything, we need to be trying to walk off the jobs. I'm talking about between now and Memorial Day, July 4th, I don't care. Everyone all over the world needs to be walking off their job and just refusing to work. And if we all do it, every state, every county, every city all over the world, everybody just walk off their job and do not return. And don't go buy nothing and sit at home and have your little grocery store. Listen, folks will be changing their tune so quick and fast because that money, everything they doing is going to be dropping off and they going to have to figure out and do something different. But until we unite, 1 or 2 people can't do it. We see they try to pick folks off, call them conspiracy theorists, kill them off, and all that type of stuff. You know, God is still in control with everything. Some of the things we're getting, some of the things we're not. He's in control still. But we need to be paying attention, you know, in the spiritual and natural. Because remember, anything goes on in the natural, whatever was going on in the spiritual. So, like I said, bruised not broken. Miss you guys. I'm getting it together. Like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. For my newcomers, I appreciate you. I thank you so much for subscribing, liking. If you would like to donate to me, you can be a blessing to me if I'm a blessing to you. And I think my Cash App link is in the bio, but God is still my provider. So regardless, I am still going to have even a life of abundance, whatever that looks like. So we are bruised and not broken, and be blessed in Jesus' name. I hope that this word was a beautiful one. Look up these symbols, look up these flags all over the world. See the symbolisms when you look at this, sorceries, different things. You can see what those things are meaning, what they believe in, the colors, the shapes, everything. Remember I said there's no Star of David. So they made that lie up, showing up, showing. Anyway, be blessed in Jesus' name. I hope you enjoyed this word. Look at my head. Y'all see me, I don't know what to do. I be sweating. I just have a little afro back and I don't know what to do. I want to go get it lined up and cover it good again. But I ain't had no time. So be blessed in Jesus' name. Amen.